library. Like we said, ask questions as much as you want and type in the chat if you are unable to speak up, but we have plenty of opportunities for questions and information today. So the floor is yours.
Awesome. Thank you, Hannah. My name is Chad Cunningham. I work at the Central Library. I'm in charge of our circulation services department. And Hannah reached out to me because she said people wanted to know more about the library and getting library cards. So today I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about these. This is a library card. This is the library card we were talking about. Anybody who lives in Monroe County can get a library card. It's awesome. In order to get a library card, there's two basic ways you can do it. Oh, there we go. Hannah's got a library card right there. Awesome, Hannah. Yay for library cards. You can go into the library to get a library card. You just have to take yourself and some identification that shows your name and address. You can also apply for an e-card online, which will allow you to borrow items digitally. And then you can then go into a library once you've had the e-card, and you can also get a physical card if you want. Both cards are equally valid. Library staff always want to help you. You can ask the library staff of anything. I wanted to give you a brief overview of libraries in Monroe County. The Monroe County Library System is an organization that is comprised of the Rochester Public Library, which is Central Library and all of the branches in the city, and then also each town library in Monroe County. We all work together. We have a common circulation system. You could use your library card at any library in Monroe County. And if you check stuff out at a library, like let's say you went to Irondequoit and checked something out, you don't have to go back to Irondequoit to return it. You can go to any library and return it. So you could, if you were at Central, you could drop off your items there. We ship items back and forth, which means that you can return things anywhere. It also means that if the library you visit doesn't have an item, but another library does, we can have it sent over for you. In a few days, you can have that item. So we all kind of work together in Monroe County. There are different rules at each library. That just has to do with how libraries are governed. The towns fund their own libraries, so sometimes they make their own rules. So sometimes something that you can do at Central, you can't necessarily do at, say, Gates. But for the most part, all the basic stuff is the same. I wanted to talk, let's see, I have a list of stuff so I don't forget anything. I am going to actually share my screen now. So let's do that. All right. And you should be seeing the Monroe County Library System website. Awesome. This is the Monroe County Library System website. It's called libraryweb.org. This is the website for the whole county, and it's got information that's county related. One of the big things, one of the best things it has is up here at the top, it has library hours and locations, where it will list all the libraries in Monroe County and their hours when you can go in and do stuff. That is very important. There are many libraries and we're all open different hours. So it's good to know when we are. And also in this list, it will take you to each library's website. There's a link to that where you can get more information on that. One of the things I'm going to show you first is using the library. Let's apply for a library card. Applying for a library card is pretty easy. Like I said, there's two ways to do it. You can apply in person and you can also get an e-card. Hannah and I talked about this, and we were going to encourage you to, work with your teachers to get an e-card and then go into the library and get a physical card. And that's an easy way to do it. It's a really easy process. You just go in and you enter your information. I'll enter my information. It's going to do it, but it won't work because I already have a card. Oops. This is literally all you do. Isn't it fun watching me type? Not putting my phone. And it will ask you for your date of birth. That has to do with how it's registering the card. I will put my actual date of birth.
Is there a minimum age for getting a card? Say if someone wants to have a card for their child.
So That is something that will, as far as physical cards go, will vary from library to library. Most libraries at this point, it's birth on, but
Okay,
some libraries have like 3 or 4. And actually children's cards, parents always sign for them. So the parent would bring the child and their identification. And the parent takes responsibility for what's checked out, and that's how we issue children's cards. But like I said, a lot of libraries, it's from birth on. It just depends on your library.
perfect, thank you.
Yeah. So you do that, you fill out that form, and it's going to issue you a card. And then you'd be able to use that card. My card probably isn't going to issue because I'm already in there. And it'll tell you that. So that's how you would get an e-card. The other way is to go into the library. Whenever you're going into the library to get a library card, remember that you need identification with your name and address on it. And I gave Hannah a little sheet that has all of that information, and I'll actually show you which ID you need to get a library card. And you can use any of that stuff to get a library card. And trust me, libraries will work with you. Depending on the library, people are just like, we're very eager to help. I once let somebody get a library card where they had an envelope that somebody had stepped on, and we could mostly read their address. And I was like, that's fine, we'll get you a library card. We want to give library cards. It's what we do. But the Monroe County Library System website has a lot of information that's based on the county level. So it's going to have things from all over the county in it, including information on, databases, apps, things like that. We're going to get into that a little bit more. So that's the Monroe County Library System. The Rochester Public Library also has a website, which is Rock City Library. The Rochester Public Library has 11 locations, central, and 10 branches that are throughout the city. There's a branch in a lot of the different communities. The Northeast Quadrant is the one that only has 2, but otherwise, there's a lot of libraries throughout the Rochester Public Library that you can use. And you can go to any of those libraries to get cards. And in fact, I emailed the branch supervisors to tell them that we were doing this presentation today. So they're expecting people to come in, and they are excited to hear about it. The Rochester Public Library has this website, rockcitylibrary.org, which will actually give you information about each location. So the landing page just tells you the general overview. And then there's a thing here that says location, and you can choose each individual library and find out what's going on at that library. What do they have? What can they do? Stuff like that. And we're going to go into that a little bit as well. Let's see, check on terms, we did that, we did that, okay. So one of the other things I wanted to talk about before we start digging in deeper is Overdrive and Libby. Overdrive is the company that provides us with ebooks and digital audiobooks. These are things you can borrow digitally. You don't have to go into the library to get them. You can do them on your phone, on your computer, it's stuff that you can borrow digitally and you keep. Again, you'll use your library card to sign in, and you can borrow that content. That's provided by the Monroe County Library System. That's a county level service, so everybody has access to it. Okay. All right, so I wanted to focus a little bit more on the Rochester Public Library, which are the city libraries, which is where I work. So I'm going to focus on that a little bit more. Like I said, there are 11 branches, central, and the 10 branches that are throughout the city. Each branch offers different things. We're going to cover today a lot of the stuff that's available at central, but each library does have its own stuff. And if you go to this locations tab, you can choose a library and see more of what's on there. There's also a map of the locations, so you can see where they're located. But today we're going to start with the central library. So the Central Library is located at 115 South Avenue, and it's actually 2 buildings across the street from each other. There's the old building, which is the Rundle building, which is on the river. That's the old classic building. And then right across the street from Rundle is the Bausch and Lomb building, which is the newer building. And we say newer, it's like it was built in 1997, so it's not super new, but it is the newer building. And when we say the new building, we mean the Bausch and Lomb building. There are 7 different floors between the 2 buildings with all sorts of interesting stuff in them. And I was going to tell you a little bit about that. We have different divisions in Central that each have different things. And I'm going to start by talking a little bit about the Media Center. The Media Center is located on the first floor of the newer building, and it's got movies, it's got music, it's got books on CD, it's got playaways, which are digital. They're little single serving MP3 players that have one book on them. They also have MiFi devices. MiFi devices are devices that you can check out. Right now they go out for a week. Sometime in the next couple months, they're probably going to start going out for 3 weeks, that will give you internet access in your home if you don't have internet access. So we check out those items as well. We've actually just gotten a grant to purchase 300 more. So we're going to have a lot of that. So if you don't have internet and you need it for, some stuff, check out the Media Center, see if they've got a MiFi unit available, and you can have internet access in your home for a week, and it's unlimited data, and it, as many people as you can connect to it can connect to it. So that's kind of a cool thing that we have. They also have a bunch of stuff. Like I said, they've got a lot of movies. They've got TV shows, we have foreign films, music, all sorts of different stuff. The media division also loans out some equipment. They have projectors and screens and things like that. If you were going to show a home movie that you had or something like that, they've got things like that. They have a machine that'll convert VHS tapes to DVD. They have all sorts of interesting, weird little things there. So that's actually a fun place in the library. So that's on the first floor. If you go up to the second floor, you have our Children's Center and our Teen Center. The Children's Center has, everything children's related. They have books, they have the whole 9 yards. They've got the books, the movies, they've got fun little activity kits for you and your kids. Things that are focused on various parks where you can take them to the parks, and there's activities that you can do at the park. So, they got some fun, cool, interesting stuff like that. That's one of the things that you'll find as a theme throughout libraries, is that we want you to have stuff that you can interact with, you can play around with, and you can do. So those are actually kind of neat little kits. They also do a lot of programming, and they're doing programming in the library, but they're also going to different places. They go to parks, they do things like that. When things get back to normal, they'll be going to school and doing things in the schools. Right now, that's kind of not the deal. But yeah, and they're also really cool, fun people. They're super fun up there. And then there's the Teen Center. So the Teen Center is actually on the second floor as well. Teen Central is a really fun place to be. They have several different video game setups. They have a ping pong table. And they also have a full digital media lab where they've got a green screen. People can record things, they can record videos, they can record music. They have several different computers that are set up to do graphics programs and things like that. So you can do editing or digital art creation, and they have people there that can help you use it. So that's actually a super duper fun thing to do. And that's some of the stuff that you may not realize that libraries do. As we're trying to help out with things like that as well, trying to give people access to technology that they might not have at home. And we do that in the Teen Center, pretty darn cool. So the next floor is the science floor, which has many millions of books, but also has a couple other things that are special collections that are pretty cool. The third floor, the science division, is where we have the Job Center. And the Job Center has both materials to help you do a resume, apply for jobs, explore different careers. It also has civil service test books. So if you want to, get a civil service job and you need to study for a test, we have information there. And the librarians there are trained to find you the best information to help you in this process. So that's actually one of the cool collections we have. They also have a bunch of science kits. Now, this was, I think, Hannah, this was your favorite thing when we talked about it. They have science kits that are all sorts of things. They have a skeleton that you can check out. They have a telescope that's like a full-size, enormous telescope that you can check out. You can look at the stars, all sorts of different things. They have some tech-related science kits. And again, they're interactive, so it's stuff you can do and play around with. And it's for free, like everything else in the library. So that's actually a really cool thing as well. And I want to say we have a 3D printer for the public, and I can't remember if that's on the third floor or the fourth floor at this point. But we do have a 3D printer. So if you needed something 3D printed, you can. That is a service you do have to pay for. It costs $1 for each hour of printing. But we do have a 3D printer. So that's kind of neat. And then the fourth floor, the last floor in the building, is the Business Insight Center. And this is actually a newer division. This just started about a year and a half ago. And this is focused on business needs. So it can be things on just, books on business trends. It's also a small business collection. If you were looking to start a small business, they've got information on how to do that. They have a trademark and a patent center. So if you needed to copyright something, or if you were starting a business and you needed to trademark your business logo, they can help you with that. They can help you research copyrights. They can help you do research on anything business related. That's also where the Cash program is. Cash rents space from us, and they provide tax services for free to individuals who qualify. Cash becomes very important along about end of January when it's tax season, and they will provide free assistance to help people file their taxes. And that'll start up again long about the end of January. And they try to work in the community to make sure people know about that, but we're one of their location points. Obviously, the last 2 years have been a little weird, but they helped, I want to say, 400 or 500 people the year before file their taxes. So it is a really good service that we offer. And they provide follow-up service as well. They will actually file your taxes. They will help you if there's any questions on it. So Cash is a really awesome service that is housed in the library right now. So that's the new building. And then also, so I told you that there were 2 buildings, and they are across South Avenue from each other. One of the coolest things about Central Library when I started working here, it's one of my favorite things. There's actually a tunnel underneath South Avenue to go from one building to another. So you don't have to go back outside if you need to go across the street. You go down to the lower level and then you go through a tunnel and you can stand there and go, right now there are cars driving over me. And down in the link is the Technology Center. The Tech Center is actually, that just opened last year. Right after we reopened from the pandemic. The Tech Center is where all of our public computers are. You can come in and you can use the computers. Right now, I believe we are limited to an hour. It was 90 minutes before, but due to COVID, we've had to change some things. But you can go in and get computer access, and you can also get computer assistance. They'll help you, like, let's say you need to update your resume. They can help you update your resume. They can help you print things. We can print things for you. We can copy things for you. We offer free faxing if you need something faxed, which there's a surprising amount of stuff that people do need faxed these days. But faxing is free at the library. So come to the library for all your faxing needs. The Technology Center, as it grows, is going to be looking at other things as well, like they're getting big printers and stuff like that. But right now they're focused on computer assistance, and it's always staffed. There's always somebody there who can assist you with that. And they also offer computer classes. A lot of it is kind of basic computer stuff, focused on learning how to use computers and things like that. But you can contact the Technology Center and they can set you up with classes if you need. And then you can walk across the street to the old building because that'll be the link underneath. And then, so the old building has 2 divisions, arts and literature and local history and genealogy. The arts and literature section is on the first floor of the old building. And it's got things like fiction books. It's also got nonfiction books on art, on sports, on philosophy, religion, literature. Our foreign language collection is over there. Let's see, I'm trying to think what else. The Arts and Literature Division also has some really fun things to borrow. Like, you can borrow a sewing machine from the Rochester Public Library. We have, I think, 5 of them. We have 5 sewing machines you can borrow. They're out a lot, but you can borrow a sewing machine and sew something. We have games. We have craft kits where you can borrow things like looms and different types of crafts. They also hold a lot of crafting programs where they'll actually supply you with the supplies needed to follow along with the program. They do a lot of interactive stuff like that. there's also the main area in the Arts and Literature Division is called the Hacker Hall. And there are sometimes art exhibits there. Right now we have an exhibit called Art of the Book, which is people take books and they alter them. You know, they cut them up or they repurpose them in sculptures and things like that. It's a cool exhibit. So sometimes there's some cool stuff like that. The one we had before was an exhibit of clothing that people like in the 20s and the 30s had made out of burlap. And so there was a whole exhibit on that. You know, they do some cool, interesting, unusual things. There's a doll collection in the Arts and Literature Division, which can be kind of creepy, to be honest. Sometimes the dolls are a little creepy, but there's a bunch of different dolls from a bunch of different places, and some of them are quite old. So there's a doll collection as well. I'm trying to think what else there is. They have book discussion groups. Yeah, we're going to talk about some of this stuff later when we talk about the databases a little bit more. But yeah, they've got a lot of interesting things. The sewing machines are probably the coolest, I think, over there. And it's the thing that nobody expects. Nobody expects to go to the library and get a sewing machine. Myself included. I was a little surprised when I started here. And then on the second floor, we have local history and genealogy. The local history and genealogy section is all about that. It's about local history, things that are local, books on the history of Rochester, and then also genealogy, research into the past. And they have a very dedicated staff that helps people there. That is an area where you can't check items out. You have to use them there. And that's why they have a lot of staff there to help you with that, to find the things you need. And it could be anything. It could be, you know, a history of the ghosts of Rochester, which somebody asked for recently. So it's all the different haunted places in Rochester. They also have high school yearbooks from a lot of the high schools going back decades. I looked, my high school yearbook is in there. I wanted to steal it so no one could see my high school picture, but whatever. But yeah, so they have all sorts of different stuff like that. They can help you find information on a business that was in Rochester 20 years ago. They can help you look up your family tree. You know, they can help you do all sorts of stuff like that. It is a very cool place. And they do displays as well of interesting things in their collection. And they do have some very fun stuff in their collection. The third floor of the other building is administrative. It's where all the administrator people are. We also have some meeting room space up there. So there's no collections up there, but it's up there being cool all the same. So that's kind of the central library. The central library offers you so many things. We also offer all the traditional things, books and things like that to check out. But we also have a lot of different services, and the people who work in these divisions are trained in their topics and they can help you. Anywhere you go, any library you go to, will have librarian staff that can help you answer your questions. You don't need to know exactly what you need going in. You can go in with a question, we will help you find the answer. You know, and it could be anything. We have a patron who has been coming in because she wanted to write to different fine crystal companies to find out if they would donate some crystal flatware, crystal glasses to House of Mercy. And she's written like 80 letters to do that. We help her look up these companies and their contact information. You know, it's that kind of thing. We'll help with anything. We like questions. The weirder, the better, you know, because that's what we do. And we're always available to open that stuff up. Let's see. So that was kind of the things I wanted to talk about the Central Library. I'm not really going to go into each branch library, although they do have cool things, but there is one branch I'm going to talk about, and that is the Lincoln branch. The Lincoln Library has probably the coolest thing of any library, and that's the toy library. The toy library is attached to the Lincoln Library. It's open different hours than the Lincoln Library. And it has just that, toys. They're toys that you can borrow. They're toys that are donated or that the library has purchased, and you can borrow them. You can check them out for, I think it's 3 weeks, and then they come back. You know, so there's tons and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of toys there. It's actually one of the cooler things that I think libraries offer, you know. So yeah, if you get a chance, check it out. It's at the Lincoln branch on Joseph Avenue. Yeah, and according to this, over 5,000 toys and materials, and I would believe it. It's a huge space that's got a lot of stuff. So yeah, that's probably one of my favorite things. Those are all physical items that you can check out at the library. There's also databases that you can check out at the library. There's also things that you can do. We have online services that we can help you with. I showed you Overdrive, which is where you can go to borrow like ebooks or digital audiobooks, but we have other options as well. I'm gonna show you those. These are ones that are available through the Rochester Public Library. There are also websites, there are also databases that are available through the Monroe County Library System website. These are kind of ours, so I'm just gonna kind of go over them in general. We break them down into category. There's some general like A to Z can help you find someone. It's like a directory assistance. So if you have somebody's name and you know where they live, you can look it up and see if you can find their, you can find their contact information or their exact address. We have consumer reports if you're looking to buy something. Creative Bug is a creative program. Udemy provides training on many, many things, including a lot of computer related things. Like if you need to learn something more about Excel, you can go to Udemy and you can sign up and take online Excel courses that are video driven. That's pretty cool. We have, if you live in the city, you can have access to Hoopla. Hoopla is a media service that offers, it streams video, audiobooks. You can also download ebooks. If you like graphic novels, there's a ton of comic books on it that you can download and read. Hoopla is also a really great service. That's for city residents and then selected town residents. You have to look through your town's website. Medici TV is, it's a streaming service that offers like classical performances, so ballet performances, symphonies, stuff like that. Some cool stuff. We have a New York Times subscription. We've got a bunch of different newspaper stuff that you can access. And a lot of this is full remote access. Pronunciator is actually a pretty cool, oh yeah, that's not the screen I want. That's just the login screen. So what Pronunciator is a pretty cool program. Pronunciator is a language training program. So it can teach you to speak another language. I believe it's got like over 100 languages you can learn. It also provides English language instruction for up to 75 languages. So Pronunciator, it is a good resource to learn how to speak a language. And all you need is a library card and an email address to sign up for that. We have some literary stuff, Books and Authors, Book Review Index. These are residency, these are databases that you would use if you wanted to find out more information about an author, if you wanted to find book recommendations, things like that. A lot of our business databases, you have to use InLibrary, but we have a pretty comprehensive list that'll help you do any kind of business research you need. There's also science and history ones, more focused on history, I think, than the science, but there's definitely health and wellness and nursing and allied health. Local history has a lot of databases, including Ancestry.com and Heritage Quest, which will help you do a lot of genealogy research. They also have digital collections that are local to Rochester that have like pictures going back 200 years. It's just like a lot of old stuff. That's a pretty cool thing as well. Let's see. And then we have in the science division, we have the Mitchell Pro Demand, which is where you can get car manual information if you needed to repair your car. And people do all the time. We also have books that you can take out. We actually have a lot of the older auto manuals that you can take out to fix your car. That's a thing people don't always know we have. Okay, let's see. So another thing we have that every library in Monroe County has at least a few of these. We have the Empire Pass. The Empire Pass allows you to get into New York State parks for free because New York State parks charge, but the Empire Pass will allow you to go in for free. I think at Central we have like 5 of them. And then I think every library has at least 1 of them. And you check them out, they go out for 2 weeks and you can go to any park, just flash the QR code and they let you in for free. We also have other passes like that that will get you into things like, I don't know if you knew, because I didn't know until 2 years ago, but Rochester has a Jell-O museum. Yeah. Hannah's face, what? Yes, there's a Jell-O museum in Rochester. We have a pass so that you can get, I think it's a buy one, get one free. We have a pass for Genesee Country Museum. You know, it gets you, they're different deals. Each pass is a different deal. But that's the kind of thing we also have in libraries that you might not know about. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to take a drink of my coffee for a moment here. That was a lot of talking. So what other services do we have? So other services that you'll find, and this is specifically for Central. We have notary services at Central. If you ever needed anything notarized, we almost always have somebody on staff here to notarize. I am one of the notaries. I have the stamp and everything. We do not charge for notary services here, so you can always come here and we've got somebody who can notarize for you for free. We also offer some health and human services things. You know, there's a lot of homeless patrons who are in the area and they come in to get help from LROC, which is the Library Resource Outreach Center, which provides a lot of assistance to people who need housing or who need even just information on how to navigate some of the social services in Rochester. They're here twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 1 to 3, and they provide service for the patrons. FoodLink has recently opened a cafe in Central Library. It's really cool. The food is very good. I go there far too often. And it's a pay-as-you-can model. So they will give you a suggested price, but you pay what you can. And people can also pay it forward so that they're giving more money so other people's food is subsidized. So that's actually pretty cool. They're closing down for 2 weeks to kind of redo some stuff, but the food is real good. I eat too much of it. Probably gonna go there for lunch today, not gonna lie. So let's see, I'm trying to think. I covered everything on my list. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Well, does anybody have any questions? Hannah List, do you have questions?
Yeah, I was just wondering if the Rochester Public Library card and the Monroe County Library cards are different.
No, they're the same card.
Okay.
The card is actually a Monroe County Library System card. So yeah. Once you get this puppy right here, you can use that at any library in Monroe County.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's the same one. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, Chad, this is France. I'm one of the ESL teachers, and our students came up with a list of questions before the presentation. So we just need to do a quick inventory
Okay.
to see if all our questions were answered.
Okie doke.
Can we obtain a library card online?
Yes.
All right, which kind of documentation required? Did y'all get that? Yeah. When does the library card expire? Did we cover that?
That's a good one. So library cards are set to expire after 1 year, but if you use your library card at least once over the course of the year and you do not have fines or fees over $20, it will automatically update itself. So for the most part, as long as you're using it and your fines are down, it's going to update itself automatically every year.
Can you explain a fine or a fee?
Sure, absolutely. Library items that you check out, the physical items, go out for a specific period of time. And that varies from item. Like for example, movies are traditionally 1 week. Books are traditionally 3 weeks. So you have them for 3 weeks. If you don't bring them back, by the due date, there is an overdue fine that would happen each day. So let's say I had a book that's due back today. It's due back on the 18th and I didn't bring it back until tomorrow. It would be 1 day overdue and there'd be a 35-cent fine for that. So that's what the fines would be. Also, if you don't bring a book back, so let's say you check out a book and you keep it 6 weeks overdue. So that's 42 days. At that point, you'd be billed for the replacement cost for the book. We'd be like, hey, you really need to bring that back. And if you don't, we're going to charge you the replacement cost. But then if you get that, you can be like, oh no, I have to pay the replacement cost. You don't, just bring the book back. And then there's a maximum overdue fine of $7. So, we just want the stuff back. But that's what fines and fees are. So that's how you could have amounts on your card that would be over $20.
And if you're online, it automatically expires and the book
yes,
is
if you are borrowing a digital item, so something from Overdrive, an ebook or an audiobook, At the point where it hits the due date, it will remove from your device automatically. Those can't.
Yeah. Okay, and then, what else do we have? So what is the limit of how much someone can borrow?
Okay, that's a good question too. Yeah. The limits on how much you can borrow vary from library to library. It's based on the library's collection size and what they've determined is the maximum number. At Central, there's a limit on some media items. You know, like maybe you can only borrow 10 DVDs. There's not a limit on the total number. So if you wanted to come in and check out 100 books at Central, we're more than happy to check out 100 books to you. You know, the computer itself, the computer system stops you after like 1,000, I think, but don't get up there. don't check out that many. But again, that varies from library to library. Like I used to work at the Gates Library. At the Gates Library, you're allowed to take out 35 items per visit, you know, so. Yeah.
Depends on which branch, okay? And then we have, is it free or do we pay? So you answered that it's free, but if you are late in returning something, you would pay.
Yes.
Who pays for this?
Who pays for the libraries?
Yeah,
So that is a wonderful question that has a super complicated answer, but I will make it as easy as possible. Libraries are funded by taxes. So each municipality, each town in Monroe County pays for its library system. So the city of Rochester pays for the Rochester Public Library. The town of Gates pays for the Gates Library, and that's taken out of tax money. The Monroe County Library System also receives money from the county and a little bit of money from the state. So it comes out of taxes from 3 different places.
great. Can you return what you borrowed to any library? Is that answered?
Yep, any library.
What are the advantages of having a library card? I think you answered that 20-fold, so I
Yeah.
think that's good.
Yeah.
Where are the libraries you answered? And can you use your personal laptop in the library?
You
I don't
can.
know.
Yes, you absolutely can. All libraries in Monroe County have free and open Wi-Fi, so you can connect to the internet. You can use your own personal laptop. Libraries have seating for you to do that. Right now, as we are coming out of COVID restrictions, a lot of libraries have reduced seating and may have limits on how long you can sit there. At the Central Library, we still have reduced seating, but we don't limit how long people can be here. But you can actually absolutely sit and use your laptop in the library. We encourage it.
Okay, we have another question directly from a student. Go ahead, Butler.
Is there a fine when you borrow the stuff from the kids'
I'm sorry.
library?
Is there a fine, the toy library or the
The books and
the books? So for children's books, is there a fine?
Oh yeah, no, children's, but okay, so this is another one that has I'll just get into it. If you are borrowing from the Rochester Public Library, so Central or any of the branches, we do not have overdue fines on children's or teen items. And those are specifically items you get in the Children's Center and the Teen Center. We don't charge overdue fines for those. That is not true of every library in Monroe County. The town libraries, a majority of the town libraries do charge overdue fines for children and teen items, but the Rochester Public Library, Central and the branches, we do not. So,
Any
Yeah.
other questions? Yeah, another one? Okay, another one.
So if you borrow the book from the library and then you end up ripping one of the page from the book.
So if you damage a book, particularly a children's book,
No.
just any book. So a book gets damaged, what happens?
okay, so that's actually part of my department, so I really can talk about this one. I could talk about this one for 20 hours. You are responsible for the item while you're borrowing it. If you damage the item, I'll tell you right now, best thing to do is come back, tell the library, bring the item back, and we evaluate it from there. There's some damage that we're not going to do anything about. Like, you know, if you tear a page, you don't tear it out, but just the page gets torn, we're probably just going to tape it. If the book gets like water damaged or somebody rips out 3/4 of the pages, for that's going to be a situation where, again, we're going to look at the situation altogether, but you would be billed the replacement cost for that item. Once that happens, there may be some different things that we can do to make that a little easier. but you are responsible for the items while you have them. But that's also, like I said, bring it back, tell us about it. Once there's a decision, we can negotiate that and see what we can do. One of the things we do a lot, the prices that we have for our items in the system are the retail prices. So it's the price that's actually on the book. If you damage something, a lot of times you could find a replacement cost for super cheap online. And if you do that, we just, accept the replacement copy. But like I said, you also can talk to us and see what you can work out, Our goal is to have the returns of the materials returned in good condition. But we work with people if there's issues.
I want to just summarize part of what you said. So if you damage a book,
Mhm.
on the book, it might be $10 to replace.
Mhm.
But then you can go on Amazon, and if you can find it for $3, order it, and then return the book that you are replacing it with. You talk to somebody.
Well,
there.
you should return the damaged item first, and then we'll talk to you about the replacement copy. You shouldn't order it before you've talked to the library. Some libraries do not accept replacement copies. Some of the town libraries do not accept replacement copies. So talk to the library before you order anything.
Also, if you're wondering about something with the library, you can call the library to
Yep.
see, hey, do you have this? And
Yes.
then there are people there to help you all the time,
Yes.
right?
Yes,
Each of
as every minute that the library opens, there is somebody to answer a phone. And so if you want to know if we have something, you can call and we will find out if we have it. If we don't, we can find out how we can get it for you. So you can call anytime. And you can call with any question that you have. We call them reference questions. If you are just sitting there and you're like, I really want to know what year the Washington Monument was raised, call the library. We were Google before Google. We're more than happy to look it up. I want to know if there's an Arby's in the city. We will look it up for you and find out if there's an Arby's in the city.
Right before lunch.
Yeah.
Did you talk about the rooms that you lend?
Oh, the rooms. Yes. Let me talk a little bit about that. We have rooms. Most libraries at this point have study rooms or rooms that you can use as a patron. In the Central Library, we have 2 study rooms over in the Arts and Literature Division where you can just come in and ask to use those rooms and sit in a quiet room and work for a period of time. So yeah, we've got that. And like I said, most libraries at this point have that. Some of the smaller branches might not have it. The town libraries, I think, pretty much all have rooms like that for right now. Also, if you wanted to rent a larger room for a program or something like that, the library can help you out. We have spaces to rent here. When you're doing something for a program, a lot of times there will be a charge for that, for renting a room at that point. But like at Central, we have, I want to say 3 large meeting rooms that actually could be rented out for larger programs. We have the 2 study rooms that people can just sign up to use individually. And there actually may be some more. And the tech center, the tech center has like 3 rooms as well that you can use. And you can use those to not only study, but you could also do business presentations there. They're hooked up for wireless access for things.
That's great.
So
I've done tutoring meetings in the library.
Yeah.
Mireya, go ahead.
Good morning, Chad. How are you?
She knows you. Mireya knows you. So
Well, hello.
you should remember.
If I would speak another language than English and I go to the library, how many languages would you speak or attend us?
Sure. Are there people who speak other languages that can help if somebody were to call or have a question?
That will vary from library to library. At Central, we have, like at the circulation department right now, I have 2 people who are fluent in Spanish. So we do have people who can help with that. And we have helped other divisions. If we have one of our Spanish speakers here, they can go to another division to help work with librarians to help people. So we have Spanish language interpretation on staff at Central. Again, that varies from library to library. 2 people here, and I think we have 2 people in the tech center as well. Also, libraries, this is an area where Google kind of helps. We use Google Translate a lot as well to try to communicate with people. Yeah. We were also working on getting somebody who's fluent in sign language, but that's a longer process. So that's what we've got right now.
Any other questions? One more, go ahead.
Do they have increased activities, I mean, courses or speaking interchange,
Translation, you mean, or what do you
no,
mean?
I mean, doesn't the public library have activities about learning English?
Oh. Are there English classes at the library?
Right now, the Maplewood Library is the library that has been offering that. They are doing, and they're not doing formal classes. It's actually, they use the group model where everybody comes together and it's more of a conversational method of learning English. Off the top of my head, I don't know of any other courses that are happening on a regular basis, but Maplewood has really taken the lead in that. For the most part, what libraries do is they offer things like Pronunciator, which can help with English language courses. But that's what I say off the top of my head. The town libraries might be offering something like that, and I just don't know about it.
Okay, I'm sure with COVID too, like things are.
Yeah, oh yeah, COVID has changed so much. We're starting to come out of COVID, so hopefully we'll be back to completely full service soon.
I had a quick question, but I also assumed that all the libraries were on the bus line. Is that, or at least the city libraries?
City libraries, yes. The city libraries you can get to by bus.
Okay,
Yes.
but then the towns will be.
Town libraries,
Probably
yeah,
not.
especially with the changes that just got made. Like if you want to go to the Brockport Library, pack a overnight bag. That's
Take a while.
thing. And if you want to go to the Fairport Library, forget about it. Yeah.
Because where we are, we're like, I told the students, it's about a 5-minute drive and it's about a 20-minute walk to the library, to the central
Yeah.
library.
Mhm.
So very close.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry you can't see us. We're in a room where the camera doesn't work.
No.
Any other questions? Oh, go ahead, Barbara.
I'm just curious about the library that we can borrow the kids' toys. Now it's COVID, so what do you guys do with the toys that the parents retain? How you guys think?
What are the COVID guidelines for the toy library? Like for the returning of the toys?
So with the toy library, at the point whenever a toy is returned, it is thoroughly cleaned. And that actually is something that happened even before COVID. When toys are brought back, they are thoroughly cleaned before they are returned into circulation. During COVID, during the first part of the pandemic and up till, I would say about 2 months ago, all items that were returned to the library are being quarantined for 3 days. The science shows that there's not really a whole bunch of transmission from object to person. It's more person to person. So at this point, we aren't doing any specific quarantining for COVID, but the toy library, they clean everything. And that's before, during, and after COVID, they will do that.
I also want to mention too, there's a section for high school equivalency,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
In the library, if you want to, it has great resources to
Yes.
studying if you're part of a program.
Mhm.
And then are there like stuff to research for colleges and universities there or anything?
Yes, there absolutely are. All of that is on the 3rd floor of this building. But every library should have some basic stuff on that. The branches might not have as much because they're smaller locations, but Central has a ton of information, both on, the high school equivalency, getting into colleges, college guides, things like that. And the town libraries all have extensive collections of that as well. And again, it's a situation where if the library you go to doesn't have it, we can get it for you. We can have it sent as a hold so that you can get the item from another library. So if your library doesn't have it, we'll find a way to get it.
Great. Mireya?
Do they have any counselor or advisor about scholarships to get, for example, in the orders or whatever.
Is there resources about scholarships, and is there somebody who knows about those in the library?
We do have resources on scholarships, and that's something librarians can look up to find more information about. There are scholarship resources that are available online that they can search. We don't have anybody specifically focused on just scholarships, but again, this is a category that's popular enough that libraries have stuff on it, and the people who work in libraries know how to look up the information for you.
Any other questions, you guys? Thank you.
Yay.
Yes, thank you. And I also, even though you already said it, I just want to reiterate how if you call the library, someone will always have an answer for anything. Even when I was calling to do the presentation, I joked about it with everybody in the rooms next door saying, wow, they just responded. Like I made the phone call, the woman called someone else and then contacted you. And it was like within 15 minutes. Like they're so fast. They always have the information.
Mhm.
And it's incredible because I feel like a lot of organizations aren't like that anymore, especially during COVID, but the library they're on top of it. And they always, if they don't have the answer, they find someone that will very
Yeah.
fast.
And that's the thing. That's what anybody who works in a library is trained for. The library itself, we're not a business.
Yeah.
We don't want you to come in to spend money. We want you to come in and use the stuff because everything in a library and all of the resources belong to you. They don't belong to me. I work here and I work for you. I have rules. I have things I have to do, but you guys are our focus. So what you need and what you want is what we're focused on. So we're always about and we love questions. The weirder the question, the better. Yesterday, someone came up to me and he goes, I have a very serious question for you. I'm like, okay. And he goes, do you know the Muffin Man? I was just like, okay.
My students are like, why would someone ask you that question? So, hey, we can ask you that question. Why would somebody ask you that question? I'm just kidding.
We'd ask that question because that's a nursery rhyme. Do you know the Muffin Man, the Muffin Man, the Muffin Man? And he was being funny. And he came up and he wanted to know if I know the Muffin Man. And then we went through basically the whole nursery rhyme. The clerks were laughing hysterically. I'm like, who lives on Drury Lane? And we just did the whole thing. Yeah, you can ask any question at the library. I'm trying to think of what. Oh, and we have a book on everything. One of the most popular children's books of all time is called Everybody Poops. And it's all about how each animal and humans and everybody poops. And kids love that stuff. Kids love those books. We have everything.
I remember that book.
Yeah.
Teach about potty training with children.
Yeah.
And they talk about cats pooping and dogs pooping. It's a book called Everybody Poops.
Yep. It's a great book.
If you don't know what poops mean, call Chad. Explain the dangerous English of pooping. That sounds great.
Be careful what you wish for, Chad.
It won't be the weirdest question I've ever been asked. It won't. It won't.
Right. We gotta go. Thank you so much, Chad. It was great.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then I'm sure we'll be in contact again for another presentation. So thank you
Awesome.
so
I look
much.
forward to it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Have a good
You too.
day.
Bye.